still recording?
You're recording now.
Hi, welcome to the Smorgasboard Podcast. It's been a hot minute, but we're back again, and we're just gonna, see where the mood takes us. We just got done watching a trailer for the new Final Fantasy game called Chaos.
This podcast is brought to you by Chaos.
So Josh is like the only person that's been keeping up with E3 thus far, and for those of you who don't know what E3 is, it's a massive convention where they just talk about all things video game electronics, lots of showcases and all that good stuff. And they usually drop quite a few trailers for new video games, and Team Ninja has just dropped a beautifully masterful trailer for the new Final Fantasy game where they literally probably say the word chaos a bajillion times. And it clearly this game is trying to take itself very seriously. But it's hard to.
Not
it's
how
hard.
it's on the internet.
This trailer makes it seem like it's like no, this is a very serious game for serious gamers, and like it. The fact that the main character has like a button-up like sweater, like it looks like he's wearing like long underwear, and he's got a massive sword because it's Final Fantasy. And I think we should. Julia suggested we should watch it again and count how many times they say chaos. And I'm not against that, but that would be. I don't think we could actually show the trailer we're watching, can we?
No.
Josh showed rockets launching once, so I don't know if that was.
I mean, I think that even whenever E3 was going on, I think the first day of E3, people, if you weren't like on their list, you couldn't stream it.
Okay.
The first time ever that this has happened. And then, like 90% of the games that were like showcased at E3 had DMCA material in them. So whenever a trailer would pop up, and as soon as somebody would hear music, they would mute their stream. So they'd just sit there and watch muted trailers with their chat. So DMCA is a big load of baloney.
Would that be funnier if we just showed the video of it and then us laughing every time they say chaos? Is that better or worse? It's probably worse. It's probably garbage, but oh gosh, so funny. All right, well this is like the only thing from E3 that I've seen at all. Josh, is there anything fun from E3 that has caught your eye that you want to talk about?
Yes, there is.
New expansion for Final Fantasy 14.
Well, we knew about that one already.
You big nerd. Oh,
whoa now. Whoa.
Oh, is there actually one? I don't know.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's actually a expansion, Heaven's Ward, but that doesn't come out to November. And actually, they didn't touch on that at E3, but like
Heaven's Ward was already
5 seconds. I'm sorry, not Heaven's Ward, Endwalker. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Endwalker. Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Yeah. You're good. Nope, it's Endwalker. And they didn't show any really of it at E3, but they also just got through with a fan fest a month or so ago, where it was a 2-day event showing a whole bunch about it. So I understand why they didn't. But so pretty much the big developers had conferences. Let's see, we got the big ones were Nintendo and Microsoft. Sony wasn't there. They haven't been there for a couple of years now. But then we had some big developers like Capcom, Square Enix, Gearbox presented, Ubisoft, those big names. So I watched a couple of them. I watched live the Square Enix one, the Capcom one, and then I rewatched Nintendo and part of Microsoft's. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with several of them. Capcom brought really nothing. No Mega Man games, nothing like that. They had a Phoenix Wright kind of weird Sherlock Holmes crossover type thing. That was really it for Capcom. Square Enix was
doing like a Monster Hunter Pokemon thing.
Yeah, I did see some clips of that like on a live stream that I like flipped past on TikTok. But yeah, there's a very odd. I thought that was very odd. It's weird. It's like Pokemon, but there's also like this weird like rock paper scissors type like fighting system to it. Like kind of like picking like fast attacks versus hard attacks versus like aerial attacks or something like that to try and it just seemed very odd. It's very odd for Monster Hunter anyway, especially like just stick with the formula that works, please and thank you.
So someone who doesn't play much Monster Hunter, I play a little bit of World. Um, it seems like they got two universes going on. Is that the way it works? You got like the main line, kind of like what we know as Monster Hunter, and then they just
Oh,
added
I
this.
mean, maybe in like terms of how like the game plays, but like never believe that stories are interconnected with
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more like I guess you could say it's the main series of games versus like offshoots, but I don't really know of too many other offshoots other than like what they're doing with this one because most of the Monster Hunter franchise kind of sticks to the same mechanics. They might like deviate a little bit. Like I think the one that just came out for the Switch not too long ago, it's a little different, but
Mhm.
not like dramatically. Not like an entirely
Yeah,
different like Pokemon based turn based kind of thing.
yeah, I believe Rise is still the same principle of go find monster, chop its body parts off, and then turn it into armor or weapons. But
Okay.
It was
it
a
just
very lovely.
Rise is more like Japanese inspired. Like all the weapons are very much of that kind of like aesthetic. And
Okay.
you could put a dog, but that's about it.
Oh, you get a dog.
Yeah, you get a
Which
mount.
is,
And
which, as we all know, is quintessential to video game
Oh yeah.
Every single
nowadays.
video game, yeah.
yeah, I agree with Josh. I've actually seen a lot of like the stuff that was like in E3 and was pretty highly disappointed in everything.
Yeah.
I will say the biggest thing that sorry, I'm still stuffy nosed. The biggest thing that I did like from E3 was Xbox and Xbox pretty much releasing all of their big titles, all the things that they released. I'm pretty sure like 90% of it is going to be on Game Pass day one.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So every game, I'm pretty sure like I said, 90% of the games that they like showcased at E3 are going to be when they release are going to be available via Game Pass,
Wow.
which Parker will enjoy a new Outer Worlds 2. It got presented.
Which
Um,
did you guys see the trailer for that?
I have not seen the trailer for it yet. No.
oh, yeah,
It is so
it's
self-aware. It is wonderful.
yeah.
Well, Obsidian is very good at being blatantly self-aware of what
Yeah.
they are. So, oh goodness. All right. So I'm actually scrolling through the E3 wiki guide right now, and one thing that just jumped out to me that I wasn't aware of was Payday 3.
Mhm.
That's interesting because Payday 2 is like one of the most like there have been so many DLCs that have dropped for Payday 2 like over the years, and they've kept up so well with like new updates, new cosmetics, new like everything. Like I used to just binge this game back in college, and the fact that they're coming out with a new one, I feel like it's a good time to hop on the Payday train if they're gonna release a new game because there's so much content for Payday 2 right now. It feels like getting lost in the shuffle, so that's very exciting. What else we got here? I'm just looking through
Um,
the list. There are a lot of games here, and like for the most part, none of them are like
yeah.
really jumping off the page at me.
Yeah.
Next biggest thing I liked was Halo Infinite.
Okay.
We got more of a look at that, and then we get that their multiplayer is going to be free for
I
Halo
I
Infinite.
hate that. I hate that
Why?
it's going to be free because if they're doing a standalone free to play multiplayer, it is going to be microtransactions out the butt the entire way. I hate that. Absolutely hate it.
They're also doing a paid campaign too.
Right,
I think
right.
the reason that they're I don't know if there's going to be microtransactions, but I mean, what in Halo multiplayer is going to give you like a pay to win thing? You're just going to get cosmetics to look cool.
Well, that's not the way Halo 5 was. Halo 5 to like progress and stuff, you could buy in game and earn them like packs of cards, which would give you different weapons and vehicles for different modes in the game. They had like kind of like a Battlefield-esque mode, and you could use those cards and stuff to get tanks and stuff, and it completely broke it. It was no longer skill based or learning when things spawned. It was like, okay, I've got 10 tank cards saved up. All right, I can get 10 tanks in this game of Halo. Whereas if you used all yours, you're going around with an assault rifle, and then that's it. Stuff like that. It was very, very not balanced well at all. So that's what I'm afraid is they're going to go that route. Or I'm okay with the cosmetics. I would prefer it not to be that way. Because back in the day, like Halo 3, when you saw a dude running around with like the samurai armor, you knew he beat the game solo on Legendary to get that armor and stuff like that. Which, I'm okay. I'll sacrifice that. All right, it's not
But
2008 anymore, but
Mad respect
I also,
to
I
the
also
guy
saw
with the samurai armor.
I also saw a take on that earlier that I hadn't thought about before. Was 'cause somebody was talking about the mounts in WoW,
Mhm.
and people being able to buy like a store mount or whatever that looks cool, or like armor that looks cool, and it's like whenever we played Halo growing up and we were on multiplayer, we were online, and you saw somebody with that samurai armor, you knew what it was because you know how he got it because you did like the same thing. You put a lot of hours into it, and I think that's why it doesn't really bother me if people get cosmetic items, was because at this point I'm going to play it so much that I'm going to know what armors are store bought and what armors were earned, and so I'm just going to be like, you poor little guy had to buy your armor on the store. I worked for mine. I don't care. Like if they try to trash talk me, I'm like, yeah, daddy throw $10 at you so you can get some new armor. Yeah, try beating the game on legendary. like that's the era I grew up in. So I don't think that like when people say like, oh, it ruins my experience of that I can get like the max armor, but then their store armor looks cooler than my max armor does. It's like, yeah, well, I went through the trials and tribulation to get that armor. Like, I'm just going to shun you for buying store armor.
Yeah. I just would prefer it not to be in there, but I know it's going to be in there. And I've come to realize that, but the thing that really irks me is if they do the whole card thing again. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
wasn't aware. Like, I haven't even like touched Halo 4 or Halo 5, so I have no idea how their
Halo
multiplayer
4 was
works.
the more traditional route. It was 5 that introduced all the card packs and stuff, and it wasn't good.
As long as they go away, as long as they're away from that, I don't care if it's. I actually like that it's a free multiplayer because it's going to be the only way Halo is going to compete with like Call of Duty.
That is true. That is true.
Because of Warzone. And even though it's not a battle royale, having it free to play
Hmm.
uh, just gets more people into it and probably away from Call of Duty, and will probably make Call of Duty like step up some of their stuff, especially if Halo can be free to play multiplayer and not have as many cheaters and hackers in its lobbies as Warzone does, because that's a big problem with it right now.
Mm. Yeah. I honestly, I don't. There's going to be very few from this point on that don't do free multiplayer. If Call of Duty and Halo are doing free multiplayer, it's just the way you have to do it now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So,
I look for more companies to do like free multiplayer or doing kind of like the Grand Theft Auto or the Rockstar approach to it of being like we have a story version and then we have a multiplayer version. You can buy
yeah,
what you want to play. It being two separate prices or whatever. But
yeah. Now, the story side of Halo, I'm actually very excited for. What they showed at E3 really showed, the chief and everything, and it was
oh, it
awesome.
looks
It was
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Like the engine that they're in and everything is good. I don't enjoy battle royales, but I
Mhm.
really wish they would have announced a BR for
Mm,
Halo in it. 'Cause I still think that if any game can really do a BR well, it's it's Halo. I don't know. It just fits that.
yeah.
It feels like it would fit that mold more than like anything else.
They have the advantage of keeping it in story and stuff, with orbital drop shock troopers and capital ships bringing you in and stuff. They could make that really cool and keep it like within the Halo kind of lore too.
Yeah, that, and they already have like predefined weapons that you would find on the ground already, like in their multiplayer, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
So like it would be, it's just essentially what their multiplayer is. Outside of uh, being like in a small arena like 12v12, you just expand that, and you've got a BR.
Yep.
You're finding your weapons anyways. It'll just be randomized what you find in each location, instead of being like, oh, I got to go on this bridge to get the sniper rifle, which is another part of Halo that I love. But
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Did you guys see, speaking of Microsoft and stuff though, that they talked about Starfield, which is Bethesda's next game?
yes,
And big surprise, sarcasm here, Starfield is going to be Xbox exclusive, which sucks, but we knew this was coming when Bethesda got bought out by Microsoft.
so in 6 months after release, it's going to come out on Game Pass for PC. Is what you're saying?
Well, when I say Xbox exclusive, that's going to be PC as well.
I was
That
about
means-
to say, because like a long time ago, Microsoft pretty much said that there will no longer be like Xbox exclusive. Anything that's going to come out on like the Xbox, the current generation of Xbox, is also going to come to PC. So
Yeah.
they're just not going to put it out on PlayStation, which doesn't really affect me because I don't play my PlayStation anymore. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, you have to expect business practices to kind of like move that way. If, once companies start kind of like signing up exclusivity deals with, larger distributors, you can only assume that at some point, ball's going to drop and suddenly you're going to get more exclusive titles that aren't going to come to like everything, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be perfectly honest. It seems like a bad thing because obviously people without the proper consoles aren't going to get to play the games unless they go out and buy multiple consoles. But, maybe it drives up competition between publishers. I don't know. I guess it just depends on how big of a Bethesda like fanboy you are. If you need Bethesda in your life, then you probably need to jump ship to Microsoft. It's just the way it is. It's the way of the world.
It doesn't bother me because we all play PC primarily, so I was going to play it on PC anyway, but just when Bethesda got bought out by Microsoft, they at least projected the idea that there were still going to be releases that happened on PlayStation because their big franchises had, been on Nintendo and Sony's consoles in the past. So maybe the next Elder Scrolls will be cross-platform with Microsoft or Nintendo or not Nintendo, I wouldn't think, but be on PlayStation. But I was a little surprised to see Starfield wasn't. But maybe that's
Is,
just
I mean,
is Todd Howard still with Bethesda?
yes.
Yeah, it's just nothing's going to stop that man from releasing Skyrim on every console known to man. So I I think just because Starfield is going to be an exclusive, I mean, it may push that way, but knowing Todd Howard's trends, it's not going to be exclusive.
no, it might be like limited release for like
Yeah.
Yeah,
from
I
Microsoft
still want to see the
platforms.
math, but behind of like the decision of signing an exclusivity deal with a game versus releasing it on all platforms. Like,
Mm,
how much money do you generate more or less of? Like, do you really get that much more money in an exclusivity deal with, like, say, Sony than you would? Would you make up the sales that you're losing out on by not releasing it on multiple platforms?
let's see if they announced what kind of deal they
Hmm.
gave Bethesda here.
I would think so because for one, there would be no point in doing it if you weren't making more money by doing it. Like, so there's obviously got to be some factor of like, well, the company that they signed the exclusivity with, are they paying a certain percentage up front? That's kind of like
Mm.
negating some of that, or is it when you look at like sales of a game that isn't part of an exclusivity deal, like, is it more spread out? Like, are you going to, I guess the question is, do you sell to the same number of people roughly whether the deal is exclusive or not. So it's like, yeah, a little bit of people on like Xbox, a little bit of people on PlayStation, a little bit of people on PC. Whereas with an exclusivity deal, it's like, no, you're selling like to a lot of people on Xbox and PC because it's the only place to get it. So it's not spreading out the profit. So like maybe the publisher is making the same amount of money roughly, but it's, whatever cut I guess goes to, I don't know how it works when
Mhm.
like when you buy a game, like how much of that money is going to the developers company, how much of that money is going to like the actual like consoles corporation who it's affiliated with. I don't know how that money breaks down exactly. So I guess the question becomes, who does it affect more? Is it affecting the developer more? Is the developer going to make the same amount of money either way? And maybe they're just getting a little bit of extra kickback from like the parent company that's like, you can only like, we're gonna make this an exclusive like Xbox or PlayStation thing, or does it affect Microsoft or Sony more? Like, I guess that's kind of where the question of does it make sense to do exclusivity comes down to who's making more money, like who is it really benefiting? Which I would think that it would
Yeah.
be the larger companies, like the distributors like Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo. I would assume that that's like the level where they're like, we need exclusivity because it's going to make us more money. The developers are probably going to make the same amount of money, I would assume. Like I said, maybe they get a little bit more from a kickback by signing an exclusivity deal. I don't see it affecting like unit sales, because if it did, then like
Yeah.
why would you sign the deal?
I,
So
yeah, I'm really curious. I need to like actually research it because I've wondered it for a while. I would say a big part of it, just thinking back to like that the Internet Historian's video on No Man's Sky, where he
yeah,
talked about them signing with Sony. I would say a big part of it for developers would be to you sign exclusivity with Sony or X or Microsoft, and you get a lot of publicity off of that and a lot
mhm,
of promotion from those bigger companies. And I
yeah,
think I would I would be willing to say in the long run you would probably net less sales than signing an exclusivity contract, but you would probably have more sales than you would get originally. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you were to do it just all platforms, you would probably get a lot less sales because you don't have that promotion of Sony being like, "Hey, here's this game at E3, check it out."
yeah.
Like putting you on a pedestal and telling people to try your game. And so you probably like net less than you would, um, but the promotion benefit is uh, probably there and a big
Yeah,
incentive.
yeah, I would say the marketing plays a very large role in like signing the exclusivity, because if you're a developer and like you sign with a publisher and they're gonna like market your game, I would assume that you push it across multiple platforms. you know Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo probably aren't going to care too much, as not nearly as much as they would if it was like dropping exclusively on their console. Because if the game flops, it's kind of on them, I would think. I think Microsoft and Sony kind of, because like back to that video, Sony was gonna like take a lot of the flack for No Man's Sky like sucking basically when it came out, because you know they were handling the launch of the game, and they were doing all the marketing, and they were helping really push like Hello Studios to like the forefront and be like, look at this new game that's like coming out. So I'd say there's a lot of risk with like signing the exclusivity, because then it's like if the game is bad, then that reflects poorly on the company that signed the exclusivity, right? So it's like, well, Microsoft signed these developers, but the game was trash, so they like dumped a bunch of money into it. Because I assume development fees probably go into the exclusivity as well, right? Like I would think that Microsoft is like, here's a bunch of money to make this game just for us. And then ideally for them, they pull the sales that originally would have been thrown out to like Sony or Nintendo or, like any number of like PC distributors, they would pull in that money to help make up for like the offset of what they paid originally to get the game developed. So obviously they're taking a lot of risk in signing it.
So this adds a little light on the situation. Microsoft didn't just make a deal with Bethesda, they bought Bethesda. It's forced exclusivity now. It says that they paid $7.5 billion to acquire the parent company ZeniMax of Bethesda. So they own Bethesda now.
It was a few months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but that just kind of furthers the narrative that like Microsoft is taking on a lot of risk by shelling out all that money.
Yes.
So like and obviously people love Bethesda games because even after the debacle of Fallout 76, people are still like wanting more Bethesda. So, Microsoft is obviously like willing to put their money where their mouth is and hope that there's not a repeat of Fallout 76. So,
I would say with Starfield, I am pretty disappointed in what we got at E3 because we've known about Starfield since like 2018 or something.
I found out about it 30 minutes ago.
Really?
The internet has known about Starfield. Since like 2018 or something, and I don't give video game developers a lot of flack for the whole last year of the pandemic because it's strenuous on any job, and let alone something as big as like video game design. But we've known about it for a while, and it's not coming out until next year holiday season.
Which means it could easily get pushed to the next year.
Yeah, and once again, we've gotten nothing. We've gotten no gameplay on it.
Yeah.
So like we just got a trailer of a guy going through his like StarCraft and then taking off, and then that was it. Like it looks good, but I mean that's just that's just trailer. Like it's cutscene material. It's not like gameplay. So I was really disappointed in that.
So I'm watching the trailer for it right now, and like the cargo bay, this ship looks very like suspiciously just like the ship from Outer Worlds.
Yeah,
like the inside of it. So like now I'm like, Bethesda.
Which
not such a brand new universe, is it? Maybe the fact that Obsidian already did this a few years ago.
It's funny you bring up Outer Worlds because their trailer has kind of the same thing, but they're doing it on purpose. They like show a big monster and they're like, ooh, a CGI monster, which you'll only see in this trailer, which won't be in the game. And then they do the whole like traditional like, whoa, big sound and like, ooh, you know what that means? A cutting edge shot of CGI scenery, which won't be in the game and stuff like that.
I saw I can't remember if he's like the game director or he's some director at Obsidian. He put a thing on Twitter. He's like, I still can't believe they let me do this trailer for the reveal. Like,
awesome.
It's amazing. But I would expect nothing less from Outer Worlds too. It's such a
I had a blast playing Outer Worlds because I loved Fallout New Vegas like many people did, and it has a very like Fallout New Vegas kind of feel to it, just because Obsidian really knows how to like make an RPG that kind of puts you in the driver's seat and gives you what feels like a role-playing experience should be. Because a lot of like role-playing games will just put you on rails, and it's like the role-playing part of it is kind of taken out of it. But Obsidian does a really good job of just like letting loose and giving you as a player what you'd actually want. Like the dialogue options are like hilarious, and they're like typically more in line with what a traditional like RPG player would actually like say to somebody. Like it's not like your cookie cutter like good guy response, bad guy response, middle of the road response. A lot of it is like I will shoot you in the face several times if you don't give me what I want. Like just comedic levels of outrageousness, and I appreciate that a lot. So the fact that their trailer was nothing but just like breaking the fourth wall jokes makes me very happy. So I just watched the teaser trailer for Starfield. I don't like teaser trailers like this because when the beginning of it said something about like in alpha in-game footage. I don't believe for a second that any of this is actual in-game footage.
But it's a cutscene that's within the game.
Well, like if that's if that's the explanation, then it's like that's so lame. Because like there's one shot where I could believe that like oh this is the loading screen when you like get in your
Mhm.
ship to like actually take off. Like when the guy sits down at his like console and it like pushes him forward and he pulls the like computer forward and he's getting ready to like take off or whatever. Like that I could believe is the closest thing to in-game footage you'll see on this because like none of the like all of these are super cinematic shots like and it tells you nothing about the game other than like it's space related and people would break this trailer down and be like oh the robot that's out on the moon surface is obviously showing you that you can create robots to like mine minerals for you. It's like that doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
It's like just a cool visual that they're trying to use to like really rope you in. And at the end of the day, if it's not in the game, like Obsidian put in their trailer, like it's just something flashy to try and like pull you in. And I don't see any point in like investing any time in this if it's just if there's no like if there's nothing substantial to actually get me to want to play it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I enjoy trailers like this, but like, especially when they're at like E3 and they like show like if they were like shown this trailer, right? And like to get you hyped up for the game, and then immediately after showed like a minute of gameplay, like a gameplay montage or whatever.
yeah.
Afterwards, it would have been fine. But like I said, we've known about we as in the internet, not Parker and Julia, have known
That's
about
right.
Starfield since like 2018,
Yes.
and we still have gotten zero gameplay. As far as I know, we've gotten zero gameplay
Yeah.
of like how it's supposed to like go. So I'm just going to assume that it's just going to be freaking Fallout in space.
So maybe they have changed it, but Bethesda had went on the record. I think it was Todd Howard, one of the lead developers or something, said that they are still using the same engine from their previous games for Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Now, maybe that has changed, but a year or two ago they had went on record saying that. So do not expect anything like you saw. Like
It's going to be a buggy mess.
yes, expect Fallout 4 with better graphics and upgraded graphics, like, but it's the same engine.
Didn't they use the same engine for Skyrim?
They have used the same engine
Yeah.
since at least Oblivion.
Oh,
Oh god.
God.
You have been playing the same engine
I
since
just
Oblivion.
I just played through Oblivion again recently, and it's like that game. It survives on nostalgia. Like it's fun. I like it, but it's because I liked it when I was 13.
Yes.
Like you can't keep making the like games with and like you said, it's the same bugs that they've had since Oblivion. Like and they
Yeah,
just keep getting
even gotten
new
worse.
bugs because it's because it's in the world of software development, when your foundation sucks, everything downstream is going to suck. Like you can't build on top of it and try and like patchwork in your fixes because something else is going to break because it's just crap just runs downhill. And that's Bethesda is just going to keep having this issue until they decide that like hey, I need to ditch my crappy old engine that has somehow kept us in business for all these years and try and bring something to the table that's not going to like drive our fan base to want to like burn down our studios because Fallout 76 should have been like the end all be all for Oblivion in my opinion because you cannot just release a piece of garbage like that and then try and like do the apology circuit. Like I can look past like Hello Studios and No Man's Sky because they made good on like everything that they promised for the most part. Like they went back and tried to like fix everything. But also it's like the most ambitious thing that they could have possibly done going from like what they had worked on previously. to this, like it's a pretty big jump. So like yeah, I can forgive them for that. But Bethesda's essentially been making the same game, just like oh, here's the fantasy version and here's
Reskinning it.
and here's the sci-fi version. Like that's basically what like Elder Scrolls and Fallout have been since like Fallout 3 and Oblivion. Like that was the marking point. I think Oblivion came first. So it was like from Oblivion onward, it's been the same basic principles of the game, just like reskinned to match whatever genre you're wanting to play in this current iteration. And Fallout 76 should have been where the gaming community said, enough is enough. We are not going to buy any more Bethesda games until you can prove to us that like you aren't just going to keep spoon feeding us the same garbage that you've been doing for years. But the gaming community can't do that because we're the most unorganized group of crybabies ever walked the earth.
I also want to put it out there that I don't know what engine they were using in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was the one that had the train, wasn't it? That
what?
there's a train in one of the Fallout games. I can't remember if it was New Vegas or 3.
I don't remember.
I think it was 3. But if they've been using the same game engine since 3, Fallout 3, one of the Fallouts was the game that they couldn't get a train to work on tracks in their game engine. So they had to put a hat on an NPC character and supersize it to the size of a train, model it as a train, and then have the people underneath the ground walk a path so it looked like the train was moving on rails. So
Wow.
this is the you guys haven't heard of that?
I've never heard this.
I just googled it. It wasn't Fallout 3. It was the Metro train, which I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see some images here.
It's
Oh my
literally
God.
they put a hat on a person and then made the people, because they can make NPCs walk from point to point. So that's what they did, was they just put them underneath the map to where you couldn't see their bodies, and then just made it go around the area that it needed to, so that they had a train, because they couldn't get a train to work on tracks. So if this is the same engine that they have been using since Fallout 3, just take that into perspective.
Oh,
Just-
I'm looking
I
at
just-
pictures. Yeah.
Oh, it's
God.
awful. I don't know if you can, whoever is gonna edit this, I don't know if you can just put this image that I just sent, but that's just awful.
Oh my.
If
Yeah,
not,
we'll add it in here. You guys can see it.
just
Yeah.
Google Fallout 3 train,
Train hat.
Wow.
and you'll probably get the image. But yeah, so Bethesda, like, I give it to them for ingenuity to like be able to put that
I
into.
don't. That's
like-
garbage.
Did you know when playing it? Like, you just said that I
Didn't, but-
never would have known that.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
true,
like,
but
so,
like
like-
that's what I was talking about, though. It's that
I don't
level.
blame them. I don't blame them for at the time of making the game, for having the ingenuity to be like, you know what, we'll just throw a hat on it and like make it walk around. Like, that was something they had to like get by a hurdle. But if they have kept I will greatly fault them for being like, this is a great engine that we are using right now. Let's use it for the next 7 games. That is where the real fault comes into play.
But for me, it's if you had the ingenuity to do this, why didn't you do it right the first time? When like
That
Like, if-
is also true.
it's like having the capability of like working with what you got is one thing, but it's like if you're that creative enough that you can like figure this out, you're telling me you can't like go like you can't go into the guts, you can't spend the money to like go into your engine and try and like fix it at its core, because that's the problem. That's why we have glitches like this. Is
Yeah.
because they do crap like this to try and like put a band-aid over it, or in this case literally put a hat on it. and try and fix it. And it's like, you can't keep doing that. Like, yeah, it's funny, but it's sad to know what, like, just how shoddy, like, these games are put together. And we still pay full price for them, and we still demand new ones every, like, couple of years because it's a toxic relationship between developers and the consumers that buy their games. It's I'm done. Can we talk about something else?
Just
now?
Yeah.
I will say that
Oh.
I'm probably more excited to play Outer Worlds 2 than I am Starfield. So
100%, 100%. Yeah.
after the first Outer Worlds, I will gladly take that as my Fallout supplement
Yeah,
that I need because Outer Worlds does such a great job of basically being the same game, just better, in my
yeah,
opinion. Like Outer Worlds 1 is probably going to be better than Starfield, and I would say
probably.
Outer Worlds 2 is probably going to be even better than that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If another game gave me the like lore and feeling that like the Elder Scrolls games do, I would probably not play Elder Scrolls anymore. But like their lore and like the universe that Elder Scrolls is set in
Mm-hmm.
is just so good. But I haven't found anything that's like similar to that feeling. Playing Outer Worlds, I have really no interest in playing Starfield.
So just to clarify, so we're not spreading false information here, I did look up. So apparently they used the Gamebryo engine for Morrowind, Oblivion, and Fallout 3. Then they upgraded to the Creation engine for Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76. And they just said that they are on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, they are going to the Creation engine 2. So they're doing an engine overhaul for these two games. So,
That's
Well,
semi
good.
better,
Yeah,
yes,
but
I would still say old old
Yes.
habits probably die hard within
I
these
was about to
engines.
say, because explain how, yeah, so explain to me how, like, you still carry over bugs from, like, previous engines into your new one, and, like, don't have,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not
there was
saying
a
there's not a
video
core
for,
there all the way through, but
oh, yeah, it's just that Fallout 76 had so many, like, day one release, there was a video that was, like, 3 hours long, I think, that, like, categorized all of the like issues and bugs that were in Fallout 76. And like I hope by overhaul they mean we're going to just like wipe our servers that have the last engine on them and we're going to build a new one from the ground up to try and like mitigate how awful we have been in the past. And it's a shame. I love Oblivion. Like I love Bethesda games. You know, like I've logged countless hours into Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I just, it's like I said, it's just toxic. It's a toxic relationship. I keep coming back and I keep getting aggravated, but it's like I still keep shelling out that dough. Can't help it.
Alrighty, so quick question. Did you guys watch the trailer for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands?
I did. Yes.
Okay,
Actually,
okay, good.
yes.
We are going to see Butt Stallion once more.
that was it. That was the peak for Julia. A diamond encrusted unicorn named Butt Stallion.
And Andy Sandberg. He's going to be a voice.
And Will Arnett.
Yeah,
and
Wanda
oh,
Sykes.
Yeah, Wanda
Mhm.
Sykes.
So they have, yeah, I think those were the only three names. I
There
think
was a
that they like.
fourth, and I can't remember what it was.
Andy Sandberg, Wanda Sykes, and Will Arnett are the only three that's credited.
Yeah,
There was a fourth, but I don't think it was.
Like a big
I didn't recognize the name. I'm not saying the fourth wasn't big, but I just didn't recognize the name. I can't remember what it was.
yeah. So
Yes, it looks like it's going to pick up shortly after the Tiny Tina Assault on Dragon Keep DLC that we got in Borderlands 2.
Which is the
So
best
it's
piece
the
of
big,
DLC
like,
they've made.
D&D.
So, yeah.
yeah, they are going heavy into in the Borderlands world. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's bunkers and badasses.
Yes,
And
thank you.
that is that is the what is it?
Ashley Birch.
Yeah, that's Tiny
Oh,
Tina.
Tiny Tina.
That's,
Okay, that is
that's
Tina.
Tiny
Okay.
Tina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Come on, Josh.
I'm sorry, I don't keep up with
Wait,
voice
we just
actors like I
pointed
do
at
with
you.
others. So
Yeah, but so yeah, there, and I heard from an unnamed source that it's gonna be like character creation in Tiny Tina's. So you're not gonna
yes.
be playing like one of the main characters. I suppose it's probably voiced by the people that were listed, but you're actually going to get to like create your own character, which is what I've been wanting out of a Borderlands game for a very long time. So
Yeah.
it's listed on IGN's wiki as an action RPG first person, but it doesn't say. I mean, one would assume that it's going to be a shooter
Oh
like the
yeah.
other Borderlands. They might mix it up a little bit, just considering the content of it, with it being like kind of Dungeons and Dragons themed. So I don't really think it'll be a one for one like Borderlands kind of clone. Like I think it'll probably be a little bit different, but honestly, like I'm fine with that. And I think this is the kind of like drop trailer they had because there was no gameplay footage for this one. It was just kind of like a teaser trailer. But I think what benefits this over like Starfield is the fact that this is like a pre-established continuity that like anyone who's a fan of Borderlands knows and loves. So like seeing that you can get like more excited for that. Whereas with Starfield being its like own thing, if you don't at least show what it's gonna look like in game a little bit, like I don't see how you can get excited over just like a CGI trailer, you know? So
Mhm.
just so that I'm not being called a hypocrite for loving a teaser trailer.
Well,
So
that and then like Borderlands has not betrayed our trust.
Yeah. Well,
right.
yeah. For the most part,
I
yeah.
would say
For the
that
most
it
part.
hasn't
For,
because
for some people in the
in the
fandom,
call, yeah.
uh, it probably has more than what it
Yeah.
has us. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed, like Borderlands is one of those games where I like story-wise I like the story, but I think the real enjoyment is playing through it with your friends, like, getting a group of 4 people and just rolling through it, whether you like pay attention to the story or not. Because the story's good. It's not like ridiculously strong, it's not like a narrative masterpiece or anything. Plenty of fart jokes. But, the enjoyment of Borderlands comes from like just ridiculous like Rudy Tooty point and shooty experience with 3 of your buds. And I think that's probably what Tiny Tina's will deliver with twice as many fart jokes, and it all sprinkled with magic. So,
Ah, Yeah,
so it should be pretty good.
it says that it will support the 4-player combat that we all know from the other Borderlands, and it says it will have additional focus on magic and melee weapons in addition to guns.
Okay. So,
So,
yeah,
Okay.
they'll tweak the system a little bit to accommodate additional melee stuff, and probably like they'll probably tweak because in Tiny Tina's DLC, like they swapped out some of the grenades with like magic. So like instead of having like a grenade that you chuck, like maybe you shoot a lightning bolt or throw a fireball or something like that. So I'm sure they'll probably like tweak that a little bit as well. I don't know. It'll be cool either way. I think it'll be fun. It may not be the best game in the world, but I think it'll definitely be worth picking up for whatever they're gonna ask for it.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make a game, Bethesda. I'm
So
calling you out on our big time podcast. I'm calling out. I'm going to war with Bethesda with all the misinformation I can possibly gather.
So another group of games we haven't talked about is the offering that Nintendo brought. Have you guys seen any of Nintendo's stuff they announced?
yeah.
I saw the Mario Golf. I saw the teaser trailer. Well, I heard about Mario Golf. I saw the teaser trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, and pretty excited about that. Not a whole lot to go on, obviously from it. It did actually show a little bit of gameplay footage in that one, so that's pretty exciting. It looks like they're just taking the same old approach they did to Breath of the Wild, but now they're also adding like sky maps.
Yes.
So they're taking you. Not only do you have full open world on the ground, but also they're kind of chunking up Hyrule. It looks like, and tossing some of it into the sky. So that could be really cool, especially considering the fact that a lot of Breath of the Wild focused on your ability to climb things and also use your parachute and your abilities to get better altitude and all that stuff. It can be really cool, and the first Breath of the Wild did not disappoint, so I don't see why this one should.
Yeah.
They're also they announced a new Metroid game, which I was super psyched for when I saw that. And
Yeah.
it's coming out in a couple of months. I think it's got a release date of October, I believe. So it's not too far away either.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's coming down the pipe pretty quick. Which apparently I've never heard of Metroid Dread, but apparently within the fandom it has been a thing that has been rumored for years.
Uh,
20 some years, I think. It's some
Jeez.
ridiculous number. Because I think it was supposed to be the successor to one of the other 2D games, but I think maybe development pushed it back and some other stuff like that. So it's finally getting a release date, and I'm all for it. 2D Metroid games, I loved them. I grew up on them. I played several for the Game Boy Advance, so I'm more than happy to pick up another 2D one. The 3D ones were fine, but the 2D ones I think are where Metroid
really came into its own.
really came into its own. I think that's where they're the most fun. Anyway.
Yeah. We got a new Smash Brothers character.
Yeah, I don't
Didn't
really
care
care
for
about
him.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
happy we're getting another Smash character, but I don't care about him.
Yeah, I'm not a big Tekken guy. I know a little bit about I couldn't even tell you. I've forgotten what his name is. I'm just not big into Tekken, so I don't know. I know a little bit about his backstory just because I've seen some videos in the past, Watch Mojo style videos, top 10 anti-heroes or whatever. I don't. Yeah, I don't really care about that, and I love Smash, so that's saying something. Sonic Colors Ultimate or Sonic Colors rather, is getting a remaster called Sonic Colors Ultimate. And this game, I did not play this game very much, but my brother did, and he said it's his favorite Sonic game of all time.
That's high
And
praise.
the fact that is very high praise. My brother is a very discerning man, so for him to award this game such an accolade should not be ignored. So I'm very excited because this Sonic Colors took a big advantage of kind of transitioning between 2D and 3D, in terms of the map. And what my brother told me that he loved about this game more than anything is that it's during your 3D portions, you do not slow down at all. You really take advantage of the amount of speed that you pick up. Where in previous Sonic titles, it was very easy to get tripped up while you're really moving fast. Because the whole point of it is it's kind of I've always thought of them as almost racing games in a way, but collecting things while you're doing that. So you need to be moving as fast as possible, avoiding obstacles, and also picking up items. Whereas in some of the other Sonic games, like Sonic Adventure 2, just because that's the one that I played the most, it's really easy to just lose momentum
Yeah.
really fast. So, and then when it goes into the 2D portions, you really take advantage of the old school platforming style of the older generation Sonic games. So Sonic Colors was the first one to really go back to that. I think Sonic Generations did it a little bit too. I honestly don't know which one came first, but I think Sonic Colors is I think it coming to the Switch is really cool, and I will probably definitely be picking it up.
I figured.
Yes, because as we all know, or as the internet will soon know, I am a ridiculously big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I have Sonic the Hedgehog badges on my Crocs, and I'm proud of that. So last thing real quick that I'd like to bring up before we wrap this podcast up. There were 2 Dungeons and Dragons games that were talked about at E3, Neverwinter and then Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. And I gotta be honest, after looking at the 2 of these, one of these looks really good. The other one looks really not good. So I don't
assume you're talking about Dark Alliance looking good.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dark Alliance looks great.
I'm prepared for a hot take.
I was gonna be like, I'm about to go to war with you, boy. No, no. Dark Alliance looks fantastic. Like it looks really cool. It looks like it's really fun. Combat looks like it. I'm watching like I've had the teaser trailer like playing on loop on my second monitor, and it just like from the magic effects and just combat and just everything about it looks awesome. It looks like it's cooperative, like probably your typical like 4-person co-op
Yeah.
type thing.
I think it runs a lot like Vermintide.
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of a lot, like kind of like a third person. I'm assuming that it's like I think it's third person combat. That's kind of what the teaser trailer kind of looks like, but it looks really cool. Notice a lot of like uh like enemies from the D&D lore. Like there's like a beholder and an ice giant and all kinds of like that goblins, all kinds of good stuff. Uh, Neverwinter looks like a free to play game that like was released back in 2008. It looked like this teaser, just the character, like the focus it just took on the main character, looked like original Fable. And in this day and age, that is maybe not so good.
Yeah.
I feel like that we
It's
tried
and
to play Neverwinter because that's not a
maybe
new game,
this
is
is
it?
maybe it's already out, but why are they talking about it at E3? Because it's on the E3 like
Yeah, it
release
might be
list.
an
But I'm looking at
expansion.
this now. I'm looking at this now and it says release date June 2013. Like, why are they talking about this game?
I'm
It looks
pretty
like
sure
maybe
we
they've
played
added.
this.
I remember Neverwinter Nights, but I think that was
Yeah, maybe a DLC or expansion or something.
Maybe, but it still looks well. I guess my comment about a free to play in the year of our Lord 2008 like rings true.
I
Then
think Neverwinter is an MMO that is free to play.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's probably an expansion for that.
okay, well that makes me feel a little bit better that it's like a game that has existed for a while because I was like, how do you release these like side by side? And
Okay, so looking back at my Steam history, I played it in 2017.
oh, and how was that experience? Do you even remember it?
Well, according to my playtime, I only played 2 hours.
Ah.
So
Not very much.
Well.
Then.
we're gonna say it's not very good.
I'm very confused now. This is what happens when you don't do prep before a podcast. Because I'm looking, yeah, off the cuff, baby. That's how we roll. I mean, because this trailer just said episode 2. I hope it's like episode 2 of an already released. Like, I hope it didn't take them 7, 8 years to come out with like a new expansion for this game.
Probably not.
I'm looking at this expansion. It still doesn't look very good, but I like. I don't know. I feel like you can't have that excuse considering the fact that like WoW has been running for so long and they've done graphical updates and really like poured time and effort into like bringing their game into like the new era. This just I don't know. Maybe one of our tens of listeners plays Neverwinter and loves it and is gonna just like destroy me in the comment section, but
Do it.
bring it on. I don't care. You saw what I did to Bethesda. You think I'm afraid of you? I'm not. But yeah, Dark Alliance looks really cool.
The last thing I want to talk about that I can't believe I didn't mention yet is Battlefield 2042
Who's
trailer
Battlefield?
came out at E3, and I am beyond excited because what was it? Battlefield 2140 came out in like 2006.
Yeah.
But if Halo doesn't kill Call of Duty, Battlefield 2042 will, because it's already got so many people so excited for it from this trailer, and the trailer looks awesome, especially with them adding stuff like Battlefield already has like the map destruction to it, but they're adding like natural disasters on maps and stuff.
A
So
volcano erupts from the middle of the map.
in the trailer, it's a freaking like typhoon tornado comes off of like the water into the middle of the town, and people are getting like scooped
Awesome.
up by it and stuff.
It's awesome.
But the
More.
biggest thing for me is that they upped it to 128 players on a server. So it is
Yes.
just going to be mass chaos in this game,
Oh,
and I'm all for it. Like I'm all for like 20 tanks on a map, like a bunch of fighter jets flying over top while
yeah.
you're just running on the ground or just like laying on a hillside with a sniper. That's my favorite thing to do in Battlefield games. Is like I could care if I go like 9-9 in a Battlefield game. If I'm just like laying on a hill with a sniper and like killing people from across the map, like I'm fine with it. But
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
another
I mean,
trailer that was very self-aware because they had there's an old famous clip, I know you guys all know about it, like where a dude is flying in a jet, jumps out, pulls out an RPG, takes out another jet, and then falls back into his jet and continues to fly
yeah.
off. They did that in the trailer. So they're very
yeah, yeah.
self-aware and I love it.
There's a video of that guy reacting to himself being
Yes.
in doing it. It's very wholesome. He's like freaking out over it. But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
think if
nice.
anything puts Call of Duty down and Warzone down, it's going to be Battlefield because it's already so much hype right now.
Well, one can certainly hope that something will bring down that that just
Juggernaut.
There's just another
just
company like
behemoth of a
Bethesda that gets away with way too much, and players should just boycott it to get the message across. But we're a bunch of coward video game players who just never
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
stand together.
Go to Twitch right now and like just the first Warzone, which it won't be hard to find. The first Warzone stream that you come to, just go in there and be like, you're destroying us as a community by allowing them to get away with this, and see how
Yeah,
quickly
well,
you
it's
just get
crazy because like
see how quickly you get flamed in the
well, no,
like
they would
in the
probably like
chat.
agree with you because like
Yeah.
But they won't stop streaming it.
yeah, no, well, like even the biggest like streamers right now who play Call of Duty are all like, this game is terrible. Like we like there's so many hackers, there's so many every other game, like you can go watch like Tim the Tap Man on Twitch, and it's like every other game he gets into a lobby with a cheater
Hmm.
because their anti cheat is so terrible,
Yeah.
and they just like don't ban people who, and it's free to play, so they don't IP ban people. So people
Hmm.
just make a new account and get back into Warzone, and then just do the same thing, and they just keep this is rinse and repeat, and they won't do anything about it. And like even these big streamers are like, "Hey, this needs to change," but I'm like, "Well, then stop playing their game.
Yeah.
Stop getting their game 40,000 viewers every day."
I suggest going over to Rainbow Six Siege, which is a far better polished game. It's not your typical. It's not your Call of Duty because running and gunning typically gets you killed. But
Yeah,
like, and as much as I hate like Battle Eye, which is their like anti-cheat like system, constantly like pops up. Like I hate that I have to agree to use it like every like couple months or whatever, but like I do love the fact that it will show you in the top corner of your screen when Battle Eye starts banning people. So it will tell you like Battle Eye has banned and then just list like so many gamer tags and just say like this person has been banned for cheating, this person has been banned for cheating. It's hilarious because it's like public humiliation at its best. Like oh, you wanted to cheat at a game? Like, fine, we're gonna put your gamer tag up so everybody can see it and tell everybody that you got kicked off this game because you couldn't play by yourself. You had to use cheats. So I
yeah,
think Call of Duty should do that. I think you should publicly shame people for cheating.
they
I think
wouldn't
it's the
care.
regulation. Yeah, that's the problem. They don't care. Ubisoft cares of all people. Of all my
True.
gripes with them, they care enough to shame you for cheating to try and make you a better person. And I appreciate that. I don't appreciate a lot of things about Ubisoft, but I can appreciate that. All
Yeah.
right. All right, boys and girls. Any other hot takes before we wrap this sucker up?
I don't think so.
No.
All right then. I want to thank everybody for listening to our very impromptu, off the cuff E3 coverage. and all of our fantastic hot takes as much as they were uninformed and full of misinformation. Because you don't come here for knowledge, you come here for entertainment. So I hope you got some laughs at how angry I get over video games. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.